Welcome to Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray, a discussion about business, racing, sports, and life. This podcast delivers insights on what makes businesses, teams, and people successful based on real-life business experiences. Following a career with America's largest associations, JP Murray founded the Murray Company, one of Washington, D.C.'s most successful consulting firms. The company was acquired successfully and enabled him to launch JP Murray Racing, a business development and sponsorship agency for auto racing teams. Here is JP.
Before today's podcast, the 10th episode of the Push to Pass podcast, I want to ask a quick favor. Can you share this episode or some of the others you may have downloaded on social media or pass it along to a friend? I'm trying to build this new podcast, this new version, after gaining about 40,000 plus listens on my old podcast, Association Hustle. But because the business sale of the Murray Company had to kind of jettison that podcast and that version, so I'm starting over, and I really appreciate it. And things are taking off really good, actually faster and quicker than the last one, so I appreciate it. Now, to today's content. I love to watch highlights. Maybe you do too. It's in your feed. It's on ESPN. Every swing is a bomb. Every shot that Steph Curry puts up from half court or Trae Young, Boomer Sooner, it goes in, swishes the net. But the danger of falling in love with this is I can miss the real key part of winning. And winning comes by little wins, step by step, one step, next step, moving forward. What I've found is you can re-engineer things that can help cultivate the big wins. But those little things have to be in place. Those little objectives have to be achieved. To get the little wins, I think it's very important to start with the main objective. What is the goal in your business life? What are you trying to achieve? Never lose sight of that, and then back out the small gains that you need to get there. In sales, for example, we can get very impatient and want to skip little wins just to get, the transaction completed or the contract in. But we're impatient for a number of reasons. There's pressure from the boss. We need to get money. Your ego is damaged because you lost the last deal. We get this impatience and we want to rush. You know what I mean. But I want you to recognize that there are stages that must occur in every single sale. The prospect must evolve from stage to get to the end decision. And there are little wins in there too. Sometimes this cycle takes a long time. A big IndyCar sponsorship might take a year. A consumer going online to buy new shoes could take minutes, but each step is key, and I would make the case that all of these steps occur. So let's break it down. And I'll use an auto racing sponsorship, since I'm working on it a lot these days, as an example. The first step is unaware. You've got to win there. The prospect doesn't know about the sponsorship offer. She needs information about the team, the driver, the series. This could be through an email campaign, for an example. The second area that they fall into is they are aware. Okay, they understand the sport or watch racing or see an advertisement for the series on TV. They may watch a race. This, with your piece of information, starts to loosen things up in their mind a little bit, and they start to see and they start to become more aware of the series and the program that might be offered. And then 3, very important, is familiar. Okay, the prospect may be open to a presentation. They may open up your deck in your email. They may see something. They become familiar with the schedule, the pricing, the deliverables, and hospitality, social media, earned media announcements, branding on the car, and for how many races. This is often where your presentation is made. The budget. This is an area where I think prospects have very little context if they haven't been around racing before. You can have programs that are tens of thousands of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, and then you've got things that could be even in the millions. They don't know. They've got to become familiar. That's a step that's very important. And the fourth win is consideration. They're circulating the idea. They're checking budgets. They're seeing if they can activate and implement the value of the sponsorship that you're offering. Let's keep in mind, friends, they got to do the work to make sure it works on their behalf too. They need to get sign off. And then finally, the fifth win is decision. Yes or no, and the negotiation of the deal. So my point here is those are 5 little wins that add to the big deal. And you've got multiple deals that you want to move forward. You can't cheat these steps. Every buyer goes through it, but every day you can make the mistake of wanting to skip the consideration or the decision phase or even the awareness phase without the others in place. Or you may think you know what the stage is without confirming it with them, and you make the assumption that you know where they're at in the process. That's a big mistake, one that I've made and probably making it right now in many cases. You got to confirm where you are in the process, where you are in that little win. This all takes tenacity. Little wins do. Figure out which steps are needed for what you need to accomplish. Then the big goal will be in reach. I wish you the very best of luck, and I thank you for sharing this content with a friend and on social. It's the only favor.
Thank you for listening to the Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray, a discussion about business, racing, sports, and life. If you would like to sponsor Push to Pass, send an email to jp@jpmurray.com. Follow JP on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. His website is jpmurray.com. Until next time, push yourself to pass the competition. Thanks for listening.
Favor I ask, I greatly appreciate it. I can't wait to chat with you next week on the Push to Pass podcast.